Welcome to Courtside Moms. I'm your host, Wendy Sparks. Today's episode, I sit down with Leisa Washington, the first female Canadian NBA and WNBA agent. Sit back, y'all, because this is some good stuff.
I do it naturally. I do it naturally, baby.
I would like to first thank you, Leisa, for coming here today and wanting to share your stories with us. It is so important for the world to understand different aspects of basketball and women's roles in basketball. I look at you as entrepreneur, success, author, agent, and mother. So tell the world now, who is Leisa?
Great question, because a lot of individuals like to speak about their titles. Leisa Washington is an advocate, humanitarian. I'm a philanthropist. I'm a mother. I'm a lover. I love nature. I love anything that's good for the body, soul, and mind. And so I like the greater things of life. That's who Leisa Washington is. I love sports. I work out every day. I try to eat well. I love sweets. I love dessert. I'm an individual who loves life. I really love life, and I'm grateful for it. That's who she is.
What role does sports play in your life? How are you influenced by sports, and which sport?
I was a track and field star growing up, undefeated for many years in public school and then in grade 9 in high school. And so sport was always an outlet for me to take my mind off of the things at home that I didn't want to have to deal with, like my mother being sick, growing up in community housing, Toronto community housing. And so sport to me is an education of what the body is capable of doing. And so my children was introduced to sports at a very early age because it was very important to teach them the dynamics and the agility of their body and who they are, and let that open the doors for them to other areas of their life. And so track and field is my love. Basketball is where my children are at. They love basketball. They eat and sleep, drink it. My daughter was a professional player. My son's at school on a scholarship. And so although Dakota my daughter, was a very great tennis player as well. And she's actually doing tennis right now. So sport, again, is it's a tool. And every child in the world should have access to sport.
Cameron, your son,
yes.
He plays Division II basketball right now, correct?
Correct.
Where does he play?
Wesleyan College in West Virginia. He's the greatest son that anybody could ask for. He's filled with such humility. He's a mama's boy. I think all boys are mama's boys. That's what makes me a great agent. And so, we have great conversation and we converse and we talk about different things. I'm guilty of, pretending that he's a baby, but he's not. He's grown and he's like, Mom, I'm in school. I got to go. Da, da, da. And so he's great. He's great. He's studying business. He was taking psychology and he changed his major to business. And he loves it out in West Virginia. He loves it at his school. He's grateful for the opportunity and he takes nothing for granted.
Tell us about Dakota.
She was playing in Europe. She was playing in Greece. She was playing in Sweden. She played for our country, Canada basketball. She played for our province, OBA, Ontario basketball. Mm-hmm. And so she was playing since she was a young girl, 6 years old, loved tennis and loved basketball. And I said, you got to choose one. We can't be all over the place. And so she chose basketball and she skyrocketed from there. And she went from Ajax Advantage Club right into university, to Wisconsin-Madison, graduated with her degree in science and business as well. And so, science. You can tell that school was always an option for me. She always like, Mom, can you get it right? Can you get it right? And I'm like, all right. So, she's working at Nike now as an econ, and she's an unbelievable woman. She's an unbelievable human being. And I'm proud of my children. I'm proud of who they are becoming. Because life for me as a mother is constantly watching them grow, learn, and become.
Let's talk about Leisa Washington, Canada's first WNBA, NBA agent.
Female agent. Yeah. You know what? It's a great accomplishment. It's a great achievement. I became a WNBA agent for Dakota. Yes. But her route didn't take her there, and nor did she want to explore it. She's a businesswoman at heart, and so she went overseas and said, I want to do business. And at first it was difficult, as any mother. I would never tell you it wasn't. I wanted her to continue to play basketball and use basketball to open the doors to other endeavors for her. But she wanted to ingrain in business, and so I had to allow her to do that. And so being an agent is, I wear that hat with great pride. It is my job to do good work. It is my job to be more than an agent. I'm a business developer. I understand business very well, as well as endorsement and marketing deals. And I use all of my business etiquette and acumen to ensure that I'm a great agent and leader for my clients when I start to represent players of my own. I've acquired Aaron Gordon and Josh Okogie through my partner Calvin at Serving Athletes with Integrity Sports Management, our agency, our firm, and his firm, and I'm the vice president in the firm. And so he's teaching me, and he's taught me everything that I need to know as an agent and as a female agent. And we've got to remember the word female because it's so important. A lot of people are like, but you're smart, you can do it. Don't always talk about being a female. I cannot not talk about it because it's unheard of for women to get into a dominating industry of all males. Women in the industry are vice presidents, admin, managers. They're on the road with the guys. They're admin. They're taking care of their dry cleaning, and they're running around, and they're doing a bunch of stuff. And so it's really important that I lead as a woman in the industry, and I do great work. And so being an agent for me is having those difficult conversations with coaches and general managers and front office staff when you have to. And you have to be able to negotiate and talk about contracts and the CBA, and you have to be ingrained in the soil that you so want to represent. And so I've planted many seeds from being an agent for 5 years, and now it's time for me to actually show my work, and I do it gracefully.
Basketball is such a male-dominant sport, such a male-dominant world. Mm-hmm. Do you, as an agent, face a lot of adversities like yourself? Like, tell me one challenge that you face on a day-to-day basis. Men, first of all, they're great to work with because you learn a lot. And you learn that men have fears too. You learn that men are scared too. And that the difference between men and women is that men will always 110% bet on themselves every single time. Whereas women, we second guess ourselves. We ask questions. Can we do it? Do we look good enough? Are we good enough? Do we speak good enough? And so I've learned to look past that and take every obstacle and challenge as it comes, because those obstacles and challenges have made me a better person and a better agent altogether. And so one of the challenges that I get all the time is, you're too smart to be an agent. Why don't you become a manager? Why don't you run a firm? Why don't you go to one of those big firms, Leisa, and just run it? Because that's who we see you as being. Why? Oh, because being an agent's too easy. Well, if it's too easy, then you're telling me that you're not smart enough. Right. So, and it's always men who say it, but they don't catch themselves because, some have ego,
some have pride. And so the men that I'm around and the men that work with alongside me and that support me are unbelievable men who believe in themselves, and they don't need to put me down to make themselves feel bigger. They're there to support me, work with me, and educate me as I go along.
It seems like as women sometimes, players, for example, won't take us seriously because they feel that we can't accomplish the same thing as a male agent. When you speak with players, is that the feedback that you get?
It's not you don't get that feedback. Their actions tell the story. They're shocked. You're an agent? Where have you been? Okay, I'm here now. So let's have that conversation about how I can represent you and lead you and take care of your legacy on and off the court. And, it starts at home. It starts at home with the parents. Parents have to instill greatness into their children, that your mother who has birthed you, who cleans the house and cooks, and the mother that rubs your sore when you fall down and get a bruise, that mother too can become someone. And the more that we teach and instill great values and morals into our children is the more that they are going to believe too that a woman can represent who I am. If my mother can do it, a woman can be my agent, right? Anything that a mother can do, we can be an agent just as well as a man can, because fathers are agents.
Absolutely.
So why can't mothers be agents? And so what you recognize and what you see is you see the great biases in the world, even more now than ever before. And you see that equality for women it matters, that we are all one. We all can do the same things. Some can do it better than some. There's better male agents than other male agents. And so we have to lead the way as female agents and executives in the world. And if I turn my back on every door that's closed in my face, every player that's gone with another agent, a male agent, everyone who has said, do you really want to do this? If I turn my back on that, what am I telling other women? And what am I telling, most importantly, myself?
Right.
I am capable. I'm more than capable. And I believe in myself. And I bet on myself every single day. And there's decisions that I make that aren't the best decisions, like anybody else. We as women in business, we make the same mistakes as males make and as our counterparts make. It doesn't make us any less. And are we painted with a certain brush as women in business? And me as an agent? Absolutely. And for me to be the best in breed, I do more than my counterparts, my male counterparts. I read more. I educate myself more. I make sure that I'm in the know and the wherewithal. I make sure that I am at every event that matter. I'm not just sitting in gyms. I put the business aspect of being an agent first before the fun part of, seeing someone, going to dinner with them, hanging out at Summer League or at the All-Star game.
Right.
Those things matter, but they matter very little. Very little. The networking aspect of the business is what I love, and that's at the forefront for me.
Well, that's very important.
Yeah, it's always business.
Of course, it's very, very important.
But what I mean is I'm not sitting down just having dinner and fooling around, and putting on a sexy dress and makeup. It's, being a woman, being an agent, a female agent, you have to think about your visuals because men are visuals.
Right. And
so I wear a blazer and I wear a dress shirt and heels every single time. Even if I'm going to a night event or, there's parties at nights with your firms and you're talking to different firms and you're out and about. But I always stay covered up because men are visuals. And so now when men see me, they're like, oh yeah, Boss Leisa. They don't look at me and, oh, you look beautiful today, or your makeup's on point, or your hair looks great. They never say that to me. It's how you doing, boss? How's it going, Washington?
Well, of course, because it's important the way
Absolutely.
you carry yourself.
Absolutely.
As Vice President Canada of SAI Sports Management, you were to sign a player today. How do you represent them?
Well, it depends on the player. And so you have to, every player is different. You have to take the time to know your players in and out, understand what they want, what their values are, what they want to do with their life on and off the court. My job is to find out about them. It's not about me. It's about representing them to the best of their ability. And so it's looking at their weaknesses, their strengths, and sort of, first of all, saying to them, here are your strengths. These are unbelievable strengths. Let's talk about your weaknesses and how we can work on these weaknesses for the next journey of your life in the NBA. And what does that look like? And my job is to teach. My job is to lead them, to be their outlet, answer any questions, and point them in the right direction. And of course, introduce them to unbelievable resources. And if there's marketing and endorsement deals at hand, we look at marketing and endorsement. But not every player is marketable and endorsed in the very beginning. And so you have to have these honest conversations with your client and their families.
Right.
You have to be mindful of not blowing smoke in the wrong direction and letting them believe that it's bigger than what it really is in the very beginning of becoming a rookie in the NBA.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's very scary.
Correct.
For some families because they don't understand what it's about.
Right.
I didn't know what it was about. I had so many schools approaching my son. It was very overwhelming because we didn't know.
Right.
He didn't really think, hey, mom, like, hold on, I'm this good. People are calling. Why are they calling? And I'm like, well, hold on. You have this incredible talent. So let's explore this and see where it can go. So that brings me to wonder, how do you choose which players that you want to go after? Like, what makes you think, you know what, I'm looking at this NCAA player, I want to represent him or her.
Right. Yes. You know what? I look at video. I look at interviews with the players. I start watching them at a very young age from far, and their demeanor, how they behave, how they speak. And then I look at the parents. How do they conduct themselves? How do they speak? Because the last thing you want is a family that's going to constantly tell you that you're not doing enough for their child. Or you have a family that wants more for their child than the opportunities that are presented to them at the current moment is allowing that child to go as far as they can go. And so you want a family that is level-headed. Yeah. You want a family that is intuitive, that's strategic, that understands the business the ins and outs of the NBA. And for me, I look at young players and individuals that I want to represent. I look at their integrity, not so much what they post. People often live vicariously sometimes, and they post things that don't really represent who they are. And social media is a gift, and it also can be a curse in some respect. And so I try not to look at that, and I try to get out and meet the client that I'm pursuing, the prospect the potential client and prospect that I'm pursuing, because sometimes when you meet them, the synergy isn't there, and it's okay. I can only represent what I believe in,
right.
And so I don't try to get greedy. I have a worksheet at home. I am very analytical. I look at stats and data, but data isn't always the truth. And so data sometimes is a barrier. It doesn't allow the client to really tell their story because people are so caught up on points and the analytics of it. And sometimes you have to look past it because a prospect could be on a team where the coach or the teammates don't allow them to be their best.
As an agent
Yes.
and working with families, a lot of parents have a different reality of what basketball is going to be or supposed to be for their child. And I'm just saying this out of experience, going through this with my son, as well as going through it with other parents. And a lot of parents vicariously live through their kids. So they see the big dream from NCAA, whether their child is a prospect or not. Automatically, for some parents or family members, that's it. My son or daughter is going to be in the WNBA, the NBA. We're going to be millionaires, and they already have that house picked out, the car, the fur coat, you name it. They already have it picked out.
Right.
As an agent, how do you compete against other agents that really, well, don't have really integrity? Because I'm looking at the name of your agency, Serving Athletes with Integrity, and I think that speaks a lot of your representation. But then we know that there's agents out there that are the complete opposite. How do you compete? How does SAI Sports Management shine above all the other agents that really, really aren't representing their clients the way they should, or a prospect?
You know what? We don't compete. We don't compete at all. We are who we are. And the more that we show our great work with the athletes that we do have, more and more families and athletes will start to recognize SAI wherever we go. The agent world is about resources, and that's one of the things that Calvin and I are in discussion with right now, because we want to make sure that we have access to the utmost resources for our clients. And so whichever agency that's out there, whatever they're doing to attain and acquire talent, that's not your straight and narrow. That's neither here nor there for us. We believe in integrity. We believe in families who are morally sound. We believe in families who, if they don't understand, they will ask the question instead of assuming. We believe in the families that want great representation and longevity in the sport that their child loves. And we want to be able to hone in on that and foster that. And we can never compete, nor will we, with anyone who is doing anything that doesn't have the word integrity in it. And so it's not worth it. It's not worth it, because clients who are with those firms and agents and agencies, they eventually leave. They eventually understand what they got themselves into, and they get themselves out. And the great agencies and agents, to me, aren't these big organizations. It's the boutique. You are getting the full service at the spa. And so that's what SAI is. We're giving you full service.
So what is the first thing you think parents should look at for their sons and daughters when it comes to choosing an agent?
Look at the agency background. Where did it come from? Who started it? And what are their morals? What do they stand for? What are their values? What's their mission, their vision, and their mandate for my child? How many players do they have? Is it just a numbers thing? Are they going to look at my son or daughter as the face of the agency, or just a number in the agency? And so parents really have to do their homework. They have to do their homework. And granted, a lot of families believe that they know how to represent their child. A lot of families believe that majority of the dads believe, I can do this. I don't need an agent.
Instant agent.
Yeah, I can do this. Okay, then if you can do it, that's great. But have an agent beside you that's going to bring you, support you, teach you. You have to be certified to be an agent. And the certification test is not that easy. Salary cap, escrow. And so you have to know your numbers. And that's the reason for the test, is to wean out the individuals who just want to become an agent to do what they want to do and live vicariously through their children. That's right. and do the wrong things and accept money and do all of those things. And so SAI wants to do great work. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm the vice president for Canada. That's why Calvin Andrews and I became partners. Calvin is an unbelievable agent. 17 years in the game. There's no value on time. And
it's all about experience.
Correct.
And knowledge.
Correct.
And a lot of parents automatically think, oh, that's my son or daughter, so no one knows them better than me. Oh, I can do this. And what they don't understand is you're not an agent. You are a parent.
Correct.
That's your role. Allow this professional to come in and put your child where they need to be.
Correct.
However, a lot of parents do not know where to go. Mm-hmm. They don't know the resources. They just automatically take it on and say, no, I can do this and I can put my son in the NBA or my daughter in the WNBA. What resources are out there? For example, how would I find Leisa Washington?
Great question. You know what? Google is a great tool. The internet is a great tool. There are people in the community that bet on me. They believe in me. Ask. One of the greater things that I love about millennials is they ask questions. And if I were to ask the questions that my daughter and my son asks me now, I probably too would have been further ahead. Millennials ask questions. The athletes we have today ask questions. There are sound athletes that are being drafted into the NBA who are business savvy, who are contract inclined. They understand the semantics of the business and the logics behind it. And so ask questions, network, make phone calls. Social media is there for a reason. You can write something in, agent, female agent, there's hashtags out there, and making the calls to the governing bodies. Canada basketball's there for a reason. Ontario basketball's there for a reason. Grassroots individuals in our communities are there for a reason. They've got amazing AAU programs. There is a list of them, and I can't list them now because I may forget someone, and they're like, she forgot me. She didn't say my name. But there are amazing individuals in our communities, in and around our country, not just Toronto, right here in Nova Scotia. And so ask the questions. Ask the leaders in the communities, where do I go? How do I get started? What do I need to know? The book, the NCAA, what do I need to know before my son gets to university or college? What do I need to know as my son or daughter goes through AAU? What are the things I should and shouldn't pay for? What are the things I'm allowed to do? What can an agent do and what can't they do? And so we need a checkbook. Okay, so anybody listening to this podcast needs to create a checkbook and a checklist that families can go to. It's the go-to list. Okay. And so it's about being organic, Wendy. It's about being organic in this business and being authentic. And I've always said that life isn't difficult. Humans make life difficult. And so there's a simplicity to life if we ask questions and we don't assume as much. And so that's why there's books and resources there. And, I've had parents say to me, I've asked the questions, I've done it, I've this, but I've been led down the wrong road. I've been told the wrong information. You've got to keep asking and call the NBA and ask them.
You see, a lot
Call
of parents wouldn't know that.
Yeah, that's what the NBA front office is there for. Call them and ask them.
So what you're saying is a parent can call the NBA and say, hey, my son or daughter plays Division I, this school, and this particular agency is approaching my child, and get advice.
Absolutely.
You see, that is good to know, because
absolutely, that's what they're there for.
I can guarantee you that no one thinks that far ahead.
The executive director is the first female ever in history, Michelle. She made it her duty to ensure that families could get the information that they need.
Resources is so important. It's
so important.
The key of your child being successful, and parents need to understand that invest in your son and daughter, but invest the right way.
Correct.
Ask the right questions. It
Correct.
doesn't mean that the answers you got didn't help. Maybe you didn't ask the appropriate questions to begin with, and that is imperative.
Absolutely.
Back in the day, there was no internet.
That's right.
There was no, are you kidding? There was no Google, and going back on Google and checking out Leisa Washington.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean?
The platform's there now.
Yeah.
You say, I'm at home and I say, hey, Google, who's Leisa Washington? Leisa Washington is the first WNBA NBA agent. That's what Google said. And I'm like, it's there. I'm there. And so, we've got unbelievable resources, unbelievable technology. Use it to your advantage to better yourself, your family, and your education in any industry that you're in, not just the NBA, not just basketball. In any career move that you make, you have to ask the questions. And sometimes people don't because, I don't want to look stupid, or my pride or my ego. I've asked every question I could possibly ask as an agent. I call Calvin 5 times a day. I'll text him, give me a call. Okay, I'll call you in a minute, Lise. What's up, Lise? Yeah. What are you thinking about now? I'm reading this. Didn't I tell you to stop reading this, Lisa? Don't worry. When you're representing a client, you will cross that bridge if you have to ever deal with that. And so, he's great because he's a sounding board for me. It's wonderful to have him there, because even when I question myself, so I too as an agent question myself, nothing is perfect. We live in a world where perfection doesn't exist. And so we're going to make mistakes. We're not going to know all of the right questions and answers. And so it's important to ask. It's important to ask, and ask the leaders that were there before us.
I just want to go back to one of the things you said about education, because as an NCAA player, education should be first. And usually for our basketball players, it's the reverse. They just think the dream, I want to get there. I want to get to the NBA.
Right.
As an agent, the scenario is you have this player, amazing player. He's the one that carries the team, but his marks, already, is not going to push him to the future. I mean, this is a prospect, obviously. He's not a client, but I'm saying, hold on a second. I want to represent this female or male, but I do see that he's not going to get where he's going to get, or she's not going to get there because of their education or where they're falling. Do you step in at that point with the families and say, look, I think maybe you should push them a little so they understand, because they have that mindset that it's all about bouncing that ball and making that million?
I think, a great question. I think there's 2 aspects to your question. There are resources that players can. So first and foremost, the player has to want to learn more, and they have to want to give themselves. They have to have the will to want more.
Yeah.
And so if they've got that will, then we approach the bridge with, yes, this prospect has the will. However, some people can't function with 3 different things going on in their life. Practice, up early. This is what's required of you on offense. You need to study the plays. Now you need to do your homework, tests. There's a lot that an NCAA player has to go through.
Yes.
And so in the beginning, as an agent, I'm allowed to speak to families during this NCAA season, through the season, and give them some sound advice. And yes, I would give them some sound advice pertaining to their son or their daughter, and where they stand with education. Now, for me, education was always an option. I went to Toronto School of Business. I wanted to be a lawyer or a doctor before I had my daughter. I had my daughter at 20 years old. And so I decided at that point, I'm going to be a mother first. And I was that for 10 years. And so I would never put my doubts on anybody's child or anyone's family when it comes to education, because it was always an option for me. And so every child is not made for university or college. Every child is not made to go through the 4 years and attain their degree or master's or PhD. And so you have to have an honest conversation with the family and sit down and say, okay, where are we at? He's a fantastic basketball player. Let's look at basketball, and then we'll do some online courses. He will be able to get his degree through his journey through basketball. There's so many different ways that individuals can achieve.
You mentioned earlier
Yes.
that millennials today ask questions when we were referring to resources.
Yes.
And being in the know. Because millennials today are completely different than athletes in the past. They just are. They're more curious. They're more
Correct.
nosy. They tell you
Yep.
what it is.
Yep.
So being a mom of 2 millennials.
Yes.
How do you stay current with what's going on now in the world? How do you speak the same language as these millennial players that you meet now?
Bet. Big facts. Yeah. Done. No. Okay. So that's just to give you a little bit. But yeah, I'm up to the minute and down to the time. My kids keep me ingrained in the soil. They keep me woke to everything that's going on. And so I thank God every day that I have them. I'm able to travel, really focus on being an agent. I'm still a mom when they need me. I try not to overbear them. And so they teach me what I shouldn't be doing. Like they'll get, my daughter will laugh. You think Josh is your son? You mommy Leisa? I'm like, oh, she's always joking. And I'm like, oh, be quiet, Dakota. And she's like, no, Mom, you're going to be a great agent because you care. And their legacy and their life matters. And hearing feedback from my children mean everything to me. It's more than critics out there, more than what anybody else could say, because they're with me every single day. They know me in and out and through and through. And so they allow me to stay up to the minute with music, and down to the minute with the lingo and what's happening in and around the culture of the millennials. And so there's millennials now who are going into the NBA who don't necessarily need an agent like an agent in the past, where it's, they're overbearing and they're all over them and you need to be here and you need to do this. It's, what? Let's use John. John, here's your, I'm your agent, but let's talk about your needs and what do you want? Oh, you want your manager to just stay with you every now and again, or stay at your home while you're playing, or call you, or how do you want your chef? Because not everybody has a chef. Do you need a chef? Do you like to cook? How do you want to cook? Do you want me to come in and show you how to cook? There's little things that, as an agent with millennial children, there's things that I can, know ahead of time and be abreast of things that I shouldn't and should not do. And so I welcome their feedback and their information. So it helps me be a better agent because I don't have little kids running around, or, like my counterparts that are male who have little kids to go home to, and wives that are stay-at-home wives, or wives that work and they have little kids. I don't deal with that. I'm ingrained into the prospect that I'm recruiting. I also have children that age, so it's great.
So you understand them more.
Absolutely.
We were talking earlier about understanding who you are trying to represent and understanding their level. So if they're immature,
Correct.
or immature, like if their mind is still immature, we were saying, hey, maybe I got to sit with him at the amusement park.
That's right.
And get on that carousel
That's
and ask him questions because now he's engaged. Now he's listening because you're doing the fun things that he or she like to do.
That's right.
But who cares? At the end of the day, you're doing that activity that they love.
Correct.
But you're educating.
That's right.
And you're showing them who you are and what life could be with you representing them.
That's
and I think
right.
it's so important to get on the same level, because I think people have this stigma of what an agent is supposed to be.
Correct.
And it's usually, oh, this man's going to represent my son or daughter, and he's going to come with a big business suit, and he's going to be so, you know what I mean? He's going to be so stiff. And it's like, no, why can't it be that woman who is just relaxed and chill? Because this is, you know what I mean? This is $1 million that your child could be making in the next year, but it's so important to understand where that $1 million is going to go. And if you can ingrain that in them and say, listen, stay grounded, stay who you are.
Right.
Because a lot of times, a lot of these kids don't understand. They go from nothing to having everything.
They win the lottery.
Yeah, of course, it's the lottery. So who wants to go play the 649 if you send your kid to the NBA, right?
Correct.
In some parents' minds, that's so much.
It's like winning the lottery.
Yeah, of course.
And it's about, having the right team around them.
Yes.
Right financial advisors, and, being that leader that they need to be able to help them make sound decisions, and not telling them what to do, but just helping them make those sound decisions as they leave one era of who they were to a brand new journey of being a celebrity instantly overnight.
Right.
Instantly overnight. And so you have to have sound advice for the player you're representing and their family.
What do you want to tell us real quickly about the WNBA?
Good question. The WNBA is the future for women in sports. I don't represent females currently. I want to, and I will. I want to make sure that there's better equality and better equity for women. And there's great people and leaders and grassroots coaches and organizations in our city, in Toronto, and in our country, Canada, who are fighting for the betterment of women in sports. And it's very important that people understand that I don't represent a female right now because I'm busy doing a lot of writing for women. I'm doing a lot of advocating on the back end for women. And so it's unfair for me to take a percentage of anyone's salary when they don't even make not even as much as the males do. And so I want to be able to ensure that I lead in all areas of my life. Is it about money in life? Yes. But it's not always about money when it comes to the betterment of better equality and equity for women. And so the WNBA is going to grow. It's going to get bigger. They have a new commissioner, Kathy. She's going to do great things. There's some in-house keeping that they need to do first for the WNBA, and then you will see beautiful things come from the WNBA in the next 5 years. And so Canada is going to get a WNBA team. Toronto is going to get a WNBA team. And we are more than capable of housing it and having it alongside the G League 905 team. And so the WNBA, there's great things to come for it in our country. And so I look forward to that as the first female agent, WNBA agent. So thanks for that question. It's good. There's great people in our city doing wonderful things. There's amazing talent coming out of our city now, female-wise. And there's too many to name. I won't name them all. You guys can Google and figure it out for yourself.
What does Leisa Washington want to leave us with today?
She's got game. She's got game.
Enough said, right? She's got game.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to your team. Thank you, Wendy Sparks. You are an amazing human being. You are an amazing female leader. I look forward to seeing great things come from this podcast of Courtside Moms. And thank you so much for having me. I'm filled with great humility, and to have every mother want to see a female agent at the forefront means everything in today's economy and society.
Well, I want to thank you, Leisa, for being here. It is so important that these stories are told. People need to understand the real reality of basketball
and the business
and the back end, the front end. It is so important that everybody out there understands, because this will make an easier path for their child. Every step and every resource that we can combine together just makes it so much pleasant.
Absolutely.
When you're, you know what I mean? You can look back at it and say, hey, this is, you know what I mean? This is what my son or daughter went through to get where they are today.
That's right.
And that's only possible with people such as yourself that come on the show and bless us with your knowledge. So I thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to another great episode of Courtside Moms. Please don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Courtside Moms. You can also find Leisa at Leisa Washington. See you next time.
I do it naturally, baby.